The shooting guard position has been one of the most fabled positions throughout basketball's time. Some of the greatest players of all time played the two guard, including arguably the greatest player of all time, who started the basketball family tree of shooting guards we have seen over the last 40 or so years. You can draw through lines across the NBA's history and connect the defining two guards of every era together, from Michael Jordan to Kobe Bryant to Dwayne Wade all the way to Houston James Harden. Now, over the last 4 to 5 seasons, we've seen a new wave of shooting guards start to make their imprint on the league, from Devin Booker to Donovan Mitchell, stylistically looking like a modern version of their predecessors. There is now another rising star at the two-guard position, one that has seemingly taken all of the bits and pieces of all of the qualities from the great two guards the game has seen. Anthony Devontae Edwards, the dynamic 6'4" two-guard who is entering his 4th year with the Minnesota Timberwolves. In his first 3 seasons, Edwards has shown that he is on an early trajectory that matches how some of the best two guards to ever play the game started out their careers. Ant's explosive athleticism, handle, physical attributes, shooting off the dribble, his swagger, his charisma, competitive fire, has given him a high approval rating among hoop fans across all generations. A throwback player with a modern twist, a freak athlete in every sense of the word, but is also polishing his skills at a rapid rate. Ant is coming off of his first All-Star appearance and another playoff series where he showed once again that he is fearless and not afraid of the pressure cooker that is the playoffs. The Timberwolves rewarded Ant with a no-brainer rookie max extension this summer, and I imagine when that contract is up, he is going to sign for a fortune on his next deal, because I, and a lot of hoop fans, believe Ant could be the next face of the league. I know some people will probably think this part of the video might be more narrative-based, but I really don't care. I like going back and connecting the dots through history, and Ant is the next two-guard that has come in the mold of a dynamic athlete who is ultra-competitive, doesn't back down from a challenge like guarding the best player on the other team, carries the team with his raw scoring ability and physical style of play, and has shown at a young age already that he is built for the playoffs, much in the mold of a younger early career Dwayne Wade or young Kobe. You know, the athletic Kobe that won the dunk contest. I want to be very clear on this, though I'm sure it's still going to fall on deaf ears. Ant has a long way to go before he is in the conversation among the best two guards ever, but if you compare the first 3 years of each respective player's careers, Ant is clearly on the right path. After making the All-Star team at just the age of 21, Anthony Edwards joined Kobe, Wade, and even MJ as shooting guards who were named to an All-Star team within the first 3 years of their career. Ant has also played in the last 2 playoffs, much like how Kobe, Wade, and MJ made the playoffs with their respective teams for the first 3 years of their careers. Ant, much like his predecessors, improved his raw numbers and efficiency in each of his first 3 seasons as well. I think that's why Ant has such a high approval rating among fans of all ages. He has similar qualities to the great shooting guards of yesteryear, the competitive fire, the willingness to defend, and try to have that mano-a-mano matchup that older fans love, mixed with the jaw-dropping athleticism and modern skill set, like his off-the-dribble three-point shooting, that appeals to the younger fans. And he gives fans in their early to mid-30s flashes of a previous era they watched growing up. Ant is on a trajectory that could make him one of the faces of the league for a long time. Anthony Edwards has raised his scoring every year he's been in the league. Not only that, he has improved his efficiency. His pull-up shooting off the dribble and the combination of his quickness, explosiveness, and strength has already made him a problem for defenses to deal with. Last season, Edwards shot a career-high 37% from 3 on over 7 attempts per game. He also started mixing in more shot attempts from the mid-range area, which is the area where the great players have to thrive in to truly unlock their potential. 28% of Ant's shots came from the mid-range per cleaning the glass, which is 10% higher than the previous season. And every year, Ant's efficiency from that area has improved as well. Though the percentage is not good enough yet, it's good that Ant is trying to weaponize the mid-range this early in his career, with pull-ups and turnarounds and shots from the floater area. It's those shots that will truly make Ant, like the great shooting guards before him, unguardable, where a defense exhausts every option to try and stop you, and it still doesn't matter. His handle has also tightened every year he's gotten into the league, and that's led to some amazing plays out of the pick and roll, or blowing by somebody like a young Dwayne Wade and crams it on someone at the rim. Andre Iguodala even talked to Dwayne Wade himself about the similarities with Anthony Edwards and his ability to split the pick and roll, much like Wade in that regard. I think what makes Ant a scary proposition is that he has proven year by year that he can be a good shooter. He's improved his three-point shot every year despite taking some difficult shots. Then, if you run out on him, he's just going to blow by you with his speed. But because he is built like a football player, Ant can just shed defenders or move them with his shoulders. Oh, and he's increased his free throw attempts every year of his career so far. The entire combination of his pull-up shooting, his nuclear athleticism and build, and the fact that he has also raised his assist totals incrementally every year has put Anthony Edwards on a path towards being one of the best offensive players in the NBA. One defenses truly have to worry about. A skill set built for the playoffs and has been put into practice in the playoffs at such a young age. Anthony Edwards has also become one of the better on-ball defenders in the NBA, and when he's locked in or tasked with guarding the team's best player, he has shown he can be an elite defender. The foot speed and explosiveness to keep up with even the most quick and athletic guards, see his tape guarding John Morant, and the bulk and athleticism to guard up a position, and a few times, he's even held his own on a switch against a big man. That bulk and size suits him well guarding on the perimeter as well, because he can't get moved off his spot. It's just an unfair combination of superhero traits. Ant also might be the next great shot blocking guard. He had a career high 58 blocks last season, and some of those blocks also gave me flashes of Dwayne Wade, who for my money is the best shot blocking guard in NBA history. Ant has looked more comfortable contesting shots from the weak side, and has poached passing lanes more frequently, increasing his steals per game every season he's been in the league. With Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, the Timberwolves have the making of an elite defensive duo on the perimeter, and Ant can even play more aggressively, knowing that he has one of the best rim protectors in NBA history backing him up to erase shots at the rim in Rudy Gobert. The fact that the Timberwolves' best player is willing to take the challenge defensively means that his teammates will inevitably have to follow suit. Anthony Edwards really has the potential to land himself on a few all-defensive teams over the course of his career, and like a young Kobe, a young Dwayne Wade, or a young MJ, those athletic two guards used their tools immediately early in their career and showed how good they could be defensively, and Ant, based off his year-to-year improvement on this end of the floor, is no different. I'm stating the obvious here, but Ant really has tier 1 superstar franchise level talent, and it's imperative that the Timberwolves are able to put a competing roster around him while he is here, while having the flexibility for potential moves down the road. The Gobert trade threw people for a loop last summer, and part of me thinks that that type of move, though I would have gone a different route, spoke to the Timberwolves' faith in how fast Anthony Edwards could ascend to being one of the best players in the league. Despite a season that had ups and downs, a nasty calf injury to Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert having a good defensive year but nowhere near his standards, more trades, a crucial injury to Jaden McDaniels right before the playoffs, the Timberwolves still made the play-in and had a convincing win over the young and upstart Oklahoma City Thunder, and made the playoffs where Ant shined once again, despite losing to the eventual champion Denver Nuggets in 5. And I think that's the main thing with me for Anthony Edwards. He has already shown, despite turning 22 earlier this month, that the playoffs are not too big for him. Already, Ant has hit momentum-changing shots, game-tying shots to force overtime, coming through with a big defensive stop. This kid is special when it comes to embracing that challenge, which is something all great players revel in. It makes sense. I remember a story from longtime Wolves beat writer John Krasinski of The Athletic, where Anthony Edwards, after his rookie season was over, went to Atlanta to watch the Hawks-Sixers playoff series in 2021. And it was noted in that story how Anthony Edwards quietly observed and took in the atmosphere, and that is some shit you hear in stories of great players of the past, wanting to get a feel for what the playoffs are and the serious approach needed to play in the playoffs. And also in the back of his mind, I'm sure he knows that all great players' careers are made in the playoffs. Through his first 11 playoff games, Anthony Edwards has averaged 28.1 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, and 4 assists on a 60 true shooting percentage. This dude is 22 years old, guys. Do you know how crazy that is? Not only that, his free throw attempts per game drastically go up, and he shoots nearly 80% from the line. By the way, this means Ant has no excuse to shoot under 80% from the free throw line in a regular season ever again in his career, especially because he is probably going to get to the line more and more as his career goes on. What is Anthony Edwards going to look like at 23, 25, 27? It's scary how much potential he has. That's why everyone is worried and stressed out about how the Timberwolves, who don't exactly have a good track record building around a young franchise player, are going to build around Ant. I look at this roster, and while I still have my concerns about Cat and Gobert working out as a front court long term, and I am very much in the camp of trading Cat in a season or two to rebuild draft assets lost in the Gobert trade, this roster is still full of good NBA players. Cat is an amazing offensive player. Trading for Mike Conley at the trade deadline brought a table-setting adult to the room at the point guard position, and that's the ideal point guard to play off of Ant. And Conley has good chemistry with Gobert already. Speaking of Gobert, though it was a down year, he was still really good defensively last year, and hopefully Ant will continue to improve as a pick-and-roll player, because he didn't really use Gobert's gravity towards the rim enough and would default to ISOs out of those pick-and-rolls. That is one area Ant will have to improve. Ant will also be flanked by Jaden McDaniels, who took real strides last season as an offensive player and is one of the elite and versatile defenders in the NBA. McDaniels was certainly missed in that Nuggets series. Naz Reid is one of the best and impactful bench players in the league. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was a great bonus in that three-way trade with the Jazz and Lakers, and he was really crucial in the Nuggets series, shooting 40% from 3 on 5 attempts per game and providing all-out effort defensively. We can't forget about Kyle Anderson, aka Slow-Mo, who is a valuable Swiss Army knife that can do a little bit of everything. If you include Ant, the Wolves already have a solid 8-man rotation. And then they have their pick of the wild cards on the back end of the rotation, from rookie Leonard Miller, who showed some good stuff in Summer League, all the way to new signee Shake Milton, who I'm actually looking forward to see play under a coach with an empowering offensive approach as opposed to Doc Rivers, who, let's just say, is not that. The collection of players is clunky, but there are all good players, and right now, that is the best thing to do around Anthony Edwards despite him being so young, because he has shown a lot of good already, and you want to facilitate that growth. The Western Conference is going to be stacked again this year. Young teams have made free agent acquisitions in an effort to improve their record from the previous year. The Nuggets have the best player in the world. The Phoenix Suns have a legit offensive trio. The Lakers had a great offseason. The Kings have continuity. The Grizzlies upgraded in a trade. The Thunder are going to be everyone's consensus League Pass team this year. Can't forget the 4-time champs out in the Bay, Luka and the Mavs, and what if health breaks right this time for the Pelicans or the Clippers? The Timberwolves have their work cut out for them, and they're going to be in a dogfight. They're going to bank on internal improvement, improved cohesion, and development of younger players to navigate a tough Western Conference. But more importantly, they are betting the house that Anthony Edwards will keep making strides that even surpass the Wolves' expectations. And something tells me that is a good bet to make.